Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to this walkthrough, unboxing, first impressions kind of deal of the Tattoo Tarot Ink and Intuition. This is a deck that is published by Lawrence and King, it looks like, which is not a deck publisher that I am familiar with. Before I dive in, I should tell you about the little adventure I have getting this deck into my hands. So I had ordered this deck from Amazon, and when it arrived just like this. There's no external plastic anywhere on the box, and there is just a paper sleeve around the cards. Now, the deck that I got initially from Amazon had clearly been used. It had quite a bow, and some of the cards looked like they'd been a little bit damaged. So I sent it back and ordered a new one, thinking that I had gotten a returned deck, which is, I think, still the case. But when I got the replacement, it came also like this. Now this time, when I opened it up to take a peek at what was going on inside, thinking they'd sent me another used deck, it was clear that while there's no plastic, these cards looked brand new. They didn't have any chips or problems with them. But it is worth mentioning because if you've ordered this deck, just assume that it will come without any shrink wrap or plastic or anything. This is exactly as it arrives. So this is not by one of our more common deck publishers, and I don't know if they just did things different. Obviously they did things differently, but it did throw me. So just as a heads up, that said, it was a very inexpensive deck. The cover price on the box is US $17.99, and I think I paid somewhere around $18 to $20 Canadian. So maybe I got it on sale, I can't quite remember. But I'm really excited to actually open this up and dive into it. This is one that came out, and at the time I wasn't super interested in picking up any decks that were more pippish, and this does have a bit of a pippish minor arcana. But what I noticed when I started seeing pictures of this deck out in the wild is I recognized that a lot of the pips have quite significant symbology in them that nods to the Rider-Waite-Smith. So while it is a pip deck, I felt like it would be very, very easy to just simply read Rider-Waite-Smith style, and the style of the cards just feel really neat. So we're going to talk about that more as I dive in. But yeah, it does come in a nice sturdy box, and as I've just shown, the little booklet that comes with it is fairly thin. There's not a lot here, but we'll look at some examples. I don't know how many pages, they're not numbered, but it's a pretty traditional kind of little white book. It's just a little bit bigger. There are some spreads in here, so we'll take a peek at that at the end. And the kind of spot here for the cards sit in is just a little cardboard insert, which you could easily pull out if you wanted to, but it holds the cards nicely, and there's no gaps in the box for the cards to slide around inside, so that's also really nice. Let's just set the box aside. And then we have a paper sleeve, and the cards also were not in order, so I took them out of the paper sleeve long enough to put them in order and then put them back in. So I also wanted to make sure that everything was there because, of course, being that the deck was not sealed in any way, there was no way to really tell. I love the backings of these cards. They really feel like playing cards, and I love that style. I think it's really sharp, and it works really well with the white. And then on the front, there's almost a kind of this kind of parchment shade to the backs of the cards. They definitely are not, as you can see here, white. They've got that tannish color, and there's something kind of old worldy, which is fun because this is a tattoo tarot. You're going to see tattoo and body art throughout this deck, so it kind of feels like it's merging that old world style with new world. It's kind of a neat blend, right? So let's get zoomed in. We're going to take a look through the cards, and I'll give you my commentary as we go. So here we have our Fool card. He's got his animal guide. I don't see any hint of a white rose, which is the only symbol that I'd be used to seeing that I don't immediately spot, but it works for me. He's got his small sack of belongings there. Oh, and the cardstock, by the way, is really nice. It feels really sturdy. Like, you can tell it's kind of a chunky deck. It feels really sturdy, but it feels flexible. So I don't know what they've done, but it feels really nice, and it's a satin, not glossy finish. So love that. Here's our Magician at the table. Again, really interesting here that we have just usually a few colors in each card. Like here we have blues and yellows. Here we have reds and greens. And then in the High Priestess, blue, purple, hint of green. Love that, actually. She's really beautiful. Our Empress is reds, and she looks very much like the counterpart to the Emperor. So these two feel like a matched pair, which is what you typically see in a Marseille deck. So it's kind of neat to see that similar cohesion here with the Emperor and Empress of this tarot deck. The Hierophant. Love how giant he looks compared to these two supplicants. It's very out of proportion, which I think is really cool and something you can read in the deck. I love this Lovers, and they've got little tattoos. So she has, I can't tell, it looks like a crystal ball. Let's see if I can bring it into the viewfinder a little closer. I bet I'll be able to tell when I watch it back. But he's got a little heart with an arrow through it. I can't quite tell what hers is on the neck, but that's kind of cool. The Chariot. Yeah, I just feel like this is going to be a very clean reading deck. Justice, yellow and blue. And yeah, again, with the colors, I think it's really interesting. We've got a kind of a dark gray and light with a hints of gold. I'm pretty sure that the color use here and the way that the palette was more limited was intentional. It gives it, again, that more old world kind of feel. Here's our Hermit with our light blue and yellow, little hint of green. The Wheel of Fortune. Very traditional Marseille style majors from what I'm seeing, but with that modern twist. It's really kind of hard to describe, but it's really unique in that way. The Strength card. The Hanged Man. Death. Again, feels more Marseille, a little more macabre than our more modern Rider-Waite-Smiths. Temperance. The Devil. This also feels very Marseille. We've got the like crazy thing happening here in the belly with like the crazy face in the middle of the body and all that kind of stuff. I've seen that in Marseille decks. Tower. The Star. I think this one will be great for client readings. The Moon. The Sun, Solar Twins, Judgment, and the World. So very traditional majors. And again, you get these hints of tattoos. Less so, I would say, on the majors, although what's interesting here, she's got two breast tattoos, and it reminds me of when somebody gets a tattoo after a mastectomy. That's what that makes me think of. I don't know if that was intended, but I think that can be a really powerful symbol of completion and evolving after a journey. So there's some meaning there for me. So here we're into the minors, and we have the Ace of Wands and the Two of Wands. This is cool because you have these like inset triangles that look like a brick wall, which make me think of that sort of turret or wall that the traditional Two of Wands is on as he looks over his domain. The Three of Wands. No ship hints here, but still lovely. The Four of Wands with the little diamond at the top. The Five of Wands, and then we've got these like kind of heart symbols. So again, very pippish, and the wands specifically feel very Marseille-ish. Here's the Six, and it looks like a regular Marseille Six of Wands, except you have this laurel wreath in the background, and the laurel wreath is one of the dominant symbols in the Rider-Waite-Smith Six of Wands, because he's of course got the laurel wreath on the tip of his staff and is celebrating his return. Here we have the Seven of Wands. The Eight of Wands. There's an interesting symbol here in the background. I'm actually going to check the guidebook because I'm curious if it says what that is in here. Eight of Wands. No, no, it doesn't say. It doesn't say what the symbol would be. Just keywords. Okay. The Nine of, if you know actually, because this looks like something I've seen before. It looks almost like it's like a circle or an oval with a dot in the center and then these four arrows coming out. If you know what that symbol is, let me know in the comments down below. In the Nine of Wands, we have this single arrow in the background, and then these four arrows in the Ten of Wands, all pointing downward, which does make me think a bit of that sort of suppressive energy of the Ten of Wands. Here we have the Knave or the Page of, I think the Knaves are the Pages. I better check, actually. Yes, it goes Knave, Knight, Queen, King, yes. So the Knave or the Page of Wands. Again, we see some tattoos here, and he's got a little envelope, and the Knaves or the Pages are the messengers, so that really is cool. In the Knight of Wands, we have a ship tattoo on the hand. Very cool. You could definitely get this idea of somebody who's willing to travel or go on adventures. In the Queen of Wands, we see the heart tattoo on the hand. And in the King, a diamond and rose tattoo. And not being somebody who's super familiar specifically with tattoo symbology, if you have thoughts or feelings on why certain symbols were chosen as tattoos for the different cards and you are more familiar with tarot symbology especially, let me know in the comments because I'd be curious about some of these associations. The Ace of Swords. The Two of Swords. I really like these kind of curved swords. The Three of Swords with the spider web and the little spider here. The Four of Swords. And some of these confused me. When I first saw flip-throughs of this deck, I think it was this deck. When I saw flip-throughs of this deck, it confused me because I was like, wait, there's only three swords here. Because it's got that Three of Swords shape. But if you look, there's a handle, a handle, a handle, a handle. So it's like there's two swords kind of coming at from top and bottom there. Helpful to notice that. Here we have the Five of Swords. This Six of Swords legit looks like a boat and a sunrise, kind of in the same way for me. So that totally works from a Rider-Waite-Smith perspective. Excuse me. And then the Seven of Swords. This one still has that boat daybreak kind of thing happening, but there's this heart. I'm not sure about this one, but I like it. I like that there's a stylized way that they're depicting the pips. The Eight of Swords. The Nine of Swords. Has this eye in the center, which could be a nod back to wakefulness, the middle of the night kind of thing. The Ten of Swords, and the arrangement of these with the one sword laying down definitely makes me think of the Rider-Waite-Smith version of this card. Here we have now the Knave of Swords, and there's a snake tattoo on the hand and an eye on the neck. Our Knight of Swords has, it looks like these are lotuses, possibly? Or some other kind of flower with a snake on the arm. Our Queen has a snake all the way through. Interesting with the snakes, as well as a flower here. There's so a lot more thorns on her tattoo. And then there's something happening at the wrist as well. And she's got spider webs at the corners of her eyes. Very cool. Our King of Swords looks tattooless. I don't see any tattoos. That's interesting. Everybody else has had something. And we're into the cups. So we have our Ace of Cups. Oh, they're hammering outside. That's awesome. Apologies for that. The Two of Cups. I'm working on getting a different mic that will cut out some of those external noises. The Three of Cups. The Four of Cups. Interesting that in the Four we have this eye in the background that's crying. I would normally think of that with the Five. Interesting. Oh, I see. We're just still looking at the realm of emotion, I think. Is there tears in all of them? No, there's no tears in that one. There's tears in this one. Lots more tears in the Five, which makes sense. And none of these cups are upside down, which you sometimes see if they're trying to nod to the Rider-Waite-Smith. So I think it kind of comes and it goes. The Six of Cups has this heart with the cross out the top. And I know that symbol. I've seen it somewhere. I just can't place it right now. So if you know, let me know down below. The Seven of Cups is cool because you do have slightly different cups. There's one with a moon in it. So there's this concept that there's one clear choice here, or one clear thing to focus on. And then in the Eight of Cups, we have these sort of almost broken heart or divided heart kind of symbols on a couple of the cups. And then in the Nine of Cups, there are these stars. And the Nine of Cups being that sort of wish-fulfilled card. Ten of Cups. Love the peace sign in the background. Our Knave of Cups has a rose tattoo here. Our Knight of Cups, again, I'm not spotting any tattoos on him. Interesting when I don't see any. The Queen of Cups has this floral design with heart here and these like starbursty things. Our King of Cups has these wings, which is interesting, and then a crown with a rose in that's actually tattooed on his head where his buzz cut is. And then we're into the coins. So let's take a look. Ace of Coins. Love the Two of Coins here. You definitely get that feeling of balance. The Three of Coins, we have these Mason's tools, which is perfect for the Rider-Waite-Smith meaning of that card. And in the Four of Coins, we have what looks to be the Fehu rune and a diamond and the Othala rune. Fehu being about sort of abundance and material abundance that you've worked for, and the Othala rune about like inheritance and legacy. There's a diamond, and I'm not familiar with the symbol at the top. I don't think it's meant to be another rune because it's got curves, so if you know what that is, let me know down below. In the Five of Coins, we have Fehu reversed and sort of like the loss of wealth or the loss of material security, which is perfectly appropriate for the Five. In the Six of Coins, we have an envelope being exchanged. So you get this idea of help has come or help arriving. Well, at least you can if you're looking at this in a Rider-Waite-Smith way. In the Seven of Coins, we have this idea of timing and arrows, and that really works when you think of the Seven of Coins or the Seven of Pentacles being about that right timing, having to wait things out and see how they're going to turn out. The arrows are interesting. And then in the Eight of Coins, we have this like anvil and hammer and this light bulb, and you definitely get the feeling of refinement of work. And then in the Nine of Coins, these are like Triskeli designs, I feel like, and there's some other symbols that I'm not, again, fully recognizing. Interesting. And then in the 10, we have more diamonds, and we have this Celtic knot in the center, and I feel like these symbols are also not familiar to me. Super curious if you guys recognize any of these symbols. The Knave of Coins here is holding his coin. He's got a little flower there and there. I think in general this is going to read like a Marseille or Pip deck. He's got, the knight has, it looks like, is that an eagle? I can't quite tell what his tattoo is. It'll probably be really obvious on the video, but I'm looking at the small viewfinder and in person, and my eyes are just like not getting it. The Queen of Coins and the King of Coins. And let's just take a quick look at the colors. Let's zoom us out a little bit so we can kind of get a feel for the suits, because I didn't really pay attention to that as we go through. So here's our, okay, so our wands are these like vivid reds, so that works. Swords are these light blues. Yep, that totally works. Cups have a lot of gold and red with hints of blue, of course, but a lot of that gold is what comes through in the cups. And then in the coins, we have greens. Greens with gold and red. It seems to be. So those will be really easy to see in a layout. Let's see how this deck shuffles, because I feel like it's going to shuffle really, really well. Oh yeah. This is nice. So it's got a glide to it. It's flexible. It is a little chunky, and I have bigger hands. Oh, and it is bigger than a standard. So let me grab my Rider-Waite-Smith Centennial, and I'll just show you the difference in card size. So let me grab this. Okay. So, oh, it's not as different as I thought it was going to be. It's easier. I guess they both have borders, so it's kind of hard to see on camera, but hopefully you can see there. So we're a little wider. We're a little wider and a little taller. So it's almost like, yeah, the Rider-Waite-Smith card comes right up to where the red border ends on this card. And on the width, it's about the same. So it comes to about where the border is. So you get about whatever that white edge is there width, and about that much height additional on top of a traditional, on top of a standard tarot deck. So yeah, they are a little bit bigger, but they feel, this cardstock feels really nice. It feels sturdy. It's got some flex, but it's hefty. Like, it is a little stiffer. If you like a Llewellyn cardstock for just how bendy it is, this is a little stiffer feeling than that. But not as stiff as, say, some of the thicker US Games cardstock. So it's probably somewhere in between. It does feel like it's going to hold up pretty well. Oh, my Rider-Waite-Smith is trying to run away over here. Let's pull a random card and check out the guidebook. 9 of Cups. Okay. So let's see. I just love the way this looks on the table, though. Doesn't it look nice? Like, this would be so great to take out somewhere to read. It just has that very tarot-y feel. I don't know how to describe that. Sometimes you geek out on that kind of stuff. Okay, 9 of Cups, one of my favorite cards. And it says, success and abundance, well-being, contentment, happy, secure future, wholeness, wisdom earned, spiritual fulfillment, trophies, rewards, achievements, complacency, smugness, and conceitedness. So those are our shadowy words. As far as the actual layout of the book goes, we have an introduction, which talks about the history of tattooing as well as the history of tarot briefly, and talks about some of the stylistic elements of the art of tattoo inking that they've tried to represent in this deck. Talks about conducting a reading and drawing cards. There are some spreads here that look much larger. Again, more of a nod to Rider-Waite-Smith, I feel, or not, excuse me, more of a nod to Marseille, because those more Pippish decks were more common with big spreads, I feel like. Talks about the suits and the general energy of the suits, as well as the energy of the numbers, which is helpful when you're working for a Pip deck, as well as some information in general about the court cards, which is great. When you get into the actual minor arcana, you get short lists of keywords for every card, and I guess the majors are at the end. Let's just see. I'm assuming that, yeah. And then in the majors, you actually get little thumbnail pictures. Same thing where you get mostly keywords, right? So like, for example, the Fool, the Seeker, Innocence, Naivete, Courage, Humor, Living in the Now, Journey's Outset, Burst of Energy, Everything is Open, All Paths Available, Madness, Folly, Instability, and Apathy. So rather than listing upright and reverse, they've just included both light and shadow keywords in the descriptions. And that's it. There's really nothing else extra on here. This company, it says Mega Moondin is a UK, oh, that's who's illustrated this deck. Mega Moondin is a UK-based illustrator whose commissions range from illustrating for advertising, fashion, product design, and publishing, to large-scale murals and tattoo designs. He's currently a senior designer at multidisciplinary design agency I Love Dust, and his previous publications for Lawrence King include the Tattoo Coloring Book, the Tattoo Flash Coloring Book, and Tattoo Color in Postcards. Diana McMahon Collis, who must be the creator of the deck, has studied and practiced tarot for over 30 years, and in 2001 co-founded the Tarot Association of the British Isles. Oh, that's cool. She has provided tarot talks and client readings as a consultant at Champneys Forest Mere Health Resort and offers a professional email reading service through her website, mindbliss.co.uk, and via the Circle of Professional Clairvoyance. She has written articles, columns, and tarot book and deck reviews for a wide range of outlets and has collaborated on several books. Cool. So this is the Tattoo Tarot Ink and Intuition. I feel like this is one of those sort of hidden gems. It's really easy to get your hands on, at least right now, online. And I will have a link to the deck down below for Amazon. And I just found that it was very inexpensive. The only thing, like I said, that I really struggled with was when I got it not being sealed. It just gave me pause, right? I was like, why isn't it sealed? And the deck's coming slightly out of order. Does mean that you should take the time, particularly because there is no seal, to check and make sure that the cards are all there by putting them in order before you work with the deck, just to make sure. Unfortunately, with no seal whatsoever, not even like a label or a sticker or anything, that is definitely a concern for me when I'm purchasing a new deck. Thankfully, Amazon's return policy is wonderful, and if you have issues like that, you can usually just arrange for a quick exchange. And in my case, I requested the exchange. I got the shipping label to return the other one, and the new one actually arrived before the old one was back in the mail. They give you, I think, 2 to 3 weeks, maybe even up to a month, to return your return item, and if you don't get it back to them in time, you will get charged a second time for the replacement. But it's been seamless for me so far. I've never had any issues with Amazon returns, which is one of the reasons I like to purchase from them when I can. So that, my friends, was the Tattoo Tarot Ink and Intuition. Thank you so much for joining me. I really enjoy doing walkthroughs like this. This one was probably a little bit quicker than my usual, which is saying something, but I really enjoyed walking through this deck. I like having a couple of pip decks in my repertoire. I think they're really useful for neutral readings, and this one just has a really cool aesthetic that I enjoy. So thank you again so much. Remember to like, share, subscribe, do all the good things. Remember, if you would like to book a one-on-one reading with me, you can always do that over at supportivetarot.com. Thanks again, guys, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye!